In this episode, let's look at how to deal with those type A personalities. You know, the ones that often have a very bad reputation for being super aggressive, super direct, and super competitive. Hey there, this is another episode in my mini-series on the 8 common challenges in facilitation, where in each episode I will share a scenario, share a challenge with you, and I'll share with you some of my ideas, some of my thoughts about what you can do about it to overcome them. If this is your first time, my name is Yuri, and I've been a facilitator of innovation. I've run many projects, and I've made many mistakes. But I've learned from those mistakes, and that's why I create these videos to help you, yes you, become better at facilitation for innovation. Be it from a design thinking angle, to Scrum Masters, to scoping briefs, to coming up with ideas. You are the guys who do it, but then this channel might just be perfect for you. In this episode, let's look at dealing with type A personalities. If you don't know what that is, type A personality is often described as being a lot more competitive, sometimes a bit more aggressive, sometimes a bit more direct, and sometimes, you know, they play to win. They tend to be quite dominant. Sometimes the person in the room who's a type A personality might just be the big boss and might just be the person paying you for the facilitation. And they can, unless you know how to deal with them, can be hard to handle. They can be quite intimidating for some more inexperienced facilitators. That does not put them in the category of difficult behaviors, a video that we did before, which I put over here. When you're facilitating, your goal is to get a group from A to B, to get them further faster, to get them to the outcome. Let them find a way, but push them forward. You're greasing the wheels. You're making sure that things go a bit easier. Sometimes a very dominant power in that room can stifle other people's learning, can stifle other people's input, and can basically get in the way of you getting from A to B. There's a time and a place for competition, but sometimes in a facilitated session, competition isn't exactly what you're looking for. First off, going super competitive and aggressive against a super competitive and aggressive person will probably only make it worse, and you'll end up being in a one-to-one debate or discussion or competition with one person in the room. And that is of course a big no-no, because your role as facilitator is not to be in discussion with one person. You are there to make sure that the entire group wrestles through their challenges, comes up with solutions, and makes decisions together. So what do you do about that then? Well, first of all, you need to understand and appreciate that people are just a little bit different. There's no right and no wrong. People just have different personalities, and that can manifest itself into different behaviors. And in the previous video, we talk about behavioral agreements early on, where you basically agree with the group on certain do's and don'ts early on. You can kind of check back in on. You can say, hey, are we still doing this, or are we avoiding that? That is one way to make sure that people know how to behave in a certain way. But even before your meeting or your workshop, can you check in with them early on, and can you find out what some of these personalities are? You can either ask your client, or you can either have little one-on-one conversations with these people before you meet them in the room. You get a bit of a read about where they sit and how they would like to work together. And once you know the diversity of personalities and preferences that you have in a room, is there something you can do with it? Like, can you put people in certain roles that suit them best? I had a guy once in a session who was super critical, was super good at shooting holes in whatever came out. He was very good at telling people what was wrong with something. Great, so by the time we had a half-baked business plan, give it to this guy, because he's going to tell you exactly where that plan is weak. You take a couple of notes, say thank you very much, take that back into building mode, and you turn it into a stronger business plan. And finally, just accept people for how they are. You can deal with certain behaviors, but certain people have a certain personality that's a certain way. It's up to you as a facilitator to use that and to be able to harness that and send it in the right direction, so you get people from A to B, you get them to the output that they are looking for. Final little point here, of course, when that behavior becomes disruptive and gets in the way, then it is up to you to deal with that in a way that is appropriate. So how to deal with type A personalities? One, have a couple of behaviors everybody can sign off on. The other one is know who's coming before they even step into the door. Maybe you have a conversation with them early on, and once you know that, find a role during your session that suits them, that brings out the best in them. They're going to thank you for that later on as well. And if the behavior goes a little bit too far, then you need to step in as a facilitator. You are there to get the group from A to B in a way where everybody is safe. Now, that does not mean it has to be a feel-good session, but it does mean that everybody is treated with respect and with dignity. And your role as a facilitator is to make sure that that happens. Hey, if you want to watch another video in this series on common challenges in facilitation, click this video over here. If you want to watch something completely different by me with different hairstyle, different shirt, click this video over here.